Hey everyone, welcome back to DIY with Dewey. I was driving and all of a sudden these lights all popped up. Battery light, maintenance required, brake lights on, side airbag, basically every light, almost every light is on. So I'm gonna go ahead and troubleshoot it and figure out what's going on. Maybe the alternator is going out, not charging. So as I'm moving, I'm thinking it's charging a little more voltage, so then the light turns off. But we'll go ahead and check it out and figure out what's going on with this MDX. Okay, the good news is it didn't leave me stranded. I'm almost home, so we'll be able to take a look at the car and basically figure it out before I get stuck somewhere. Okay, so I made it back home. I just popped the hood. This battery is new, 123. The date on it. I believe I got it from Costco. Maybe the alternator is bad. So this is the settings I have set on the voltmeter. So DCV 20 on position, and I have it plugged into the bottom two. So negative on the negative terminal, positive on positive, and we only have 11.8. So the battery is low. For some reason, maybe the alternator is not charging. So we're using, basically, it's a battery tender, 4.5 amp charger. It's a maintainer and a charger. So let's go ahead and hook the battery. Negative to negative, positive to the red. That. Turn off both voltmeter. And so right now it's charging. Alright, I'm gonna charge it for probably a few hours and then I'll come back and check. Once we get it started, I can basically check to make sure the alternator is charging. We're going to start up the car and then check the battery, or check the charging system. So go ahead and put the key in. Start it. Our car is started. And now we want to see if the battery is charging. So hook up, turn on your voltmeter. Okay, so our alternator is not charging at all. So we'll look over here and see if there's a little, so negative on the ground. Okay, so our alternator is not working. It's rotating, but it's not charging the system. So maybe that's what's been going on with this car. You can see it's rotating right there. So the alternator is right there, down there, and I can tell that the belt is still spinning, the pulley. So the generator is spinning, but it's just not producing a positive charge. We'll go ahead and turn off the car, and I'll place an order for an alternator. I went ahead and tested our charging system, and it wasn't charging the batteries, so I figured it was a bad alternator that wasn't charging. So, all right, stay tuned, and I'll show you how to change a 2001 Acura MDX Alternator. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start removing the covers to access the alternator. So this is a 2001 Acura MDX, and we have 10mm bolts, 4 of them in there. So I'm using a 6-inch extension, 10mm socket, and just a small ratchet. Alright, 4 bolts, and you can lift the cover off. Let's go ahead and grab a flathead screwdriver. Flathead screwdriver. Rotate this left, and you only have to go 90 degrees. And then you can lift this up like that. So this little plastic piece right here, it is just a little pin that goes into a rubber grommet. Goes into this rubber grommet right here. So we'll leave that there. It's not we'll go ahead and unmount this 10mm bolt right here. Let's undo the battery. So I take the negative off of the battery. We'll leave it there. So this rubber grommet, we'll have to slide it out as well. So our issue is it's rotating the whole shaft where the nut is bolted on. So I'm gonna have to keep it from spinning. The nut off. Okay, so there's a connector right here. We're gonna pop that off as well. There we go. And all I did was slid this way, and then you can slide it off the shaft right here, or the mount where it was mounted. That's pretty much it. There'll be 3 bolts to remove that. We'll move the brake reservoir after. This is pretty easy too. It just lifts right up. So that's what we have so far. So earlier there was a bolt holding this wire harness, so we're just pushing this aside. Let's go ahead and remove the belt, or this belt down here. Looks like a 14 millimeter. Okay. So down here, it's like right below the AC line. Let's see if I can zoom in. It's kind of difficult. There's a tensioner pulley right here. So there's a bolt right on it. And right here's the alternator. This one right here is the alternator. So there's a belt on that. So right now we have to remove the alternator, the belt, serpentine belt. There. So do you see this bolt right here? Down there? It should be a 4. We're gonna try a 14 or 12. Here's a 14. So 14, this reservoir right here is in the way, so you can just lift this up. Yeah, we're not going to disconnect it completely, but at least free it up from the bracket, so it frees up some room. There we go. So this 14 millimeters on there. Now we have to push it that way in order to loosen the belt tension. So I'm going to use 2 wrenches to get enough leverage. So one wrench, the open end is on this side. You put this on there. Let's get a bigger one. Okay, so I'm gonna use that 9/16 just to kind of fit over the other one. All right. So once it's locked in like that, it gives you enough leverage. And do you see I'm pushing this? And if you can see, the tension for the belt is enough for me to slide the belt off. Okay. All right. So now the belt is off of the alternator. Right there. So I was able to slide the belt off, and I just put the belt lower down there. Move this wire harness out of the way. So we have a couple bolts. Looks like 12 millimeter. Right, 12 millimeter on top. Let's go ahead and remove this completely. Set it aside. So that's the top bolt off. There should be 2 more bolts. So one down here. I need a 12 millimeter. I'm going to use one of these so it saves a little bit of time. This is the ratcheting type. Looks like it's a 14 on there. Okay. 14 millimeter. Same thing with this here. So I'm putting it on there as a leverage too. And go ahead and loosen it. There. You see how the alternator wants to come out already? We'll go ahead and remove this bolt completely. So there's only 2 bolts that hold this alternator on. But yeah, you see how you need the ratcheting to make this a little faster? Imagine just using a regular wrench trying to get this off. So this is a pretty old car. It's a 2001. So I was able to buy a cheap used 2003 alternator from a Honda Pilot. And the part number cross references, and it was pretty cheap. So if it does break, I'll go ahead and change it again with another one. But I don't want to spend too much money on this car. It's an old car, and it's just kind of our it's just an extra car. We don't really need this car. All right, let's see if we can pull this. Oh, still in there. there's the bolt. I don't want to drop that, so. All right, and now we have to maneuver this alternator out. So this reservoir is kind of in the way. I'm trying to see which way I can. Okay, let's go. So I pulled the reservoir up. You don't want to tilt it too much. The AC line's kind of in the way. It's almost out. So we're going in between the AC line and the brake or power steering fluid reservoir. Okay, so it fits through there. Here's the alternator. We got it out. Here's our replacement alternator. And let's go ahead and pull these off. So this is from a 2003. We don't need this connector. So this is how I removed the connector earlier while it was in there. It sits in like this. So you just press this pin right here, press it, and then this connector slides off. So we have the factory one right here, and this will slide directly on there like that. So we don't need this. All right, let's get the alternator. So we're gonna maneuver this in between here. You see how it fits like just enough room for it to slide on. There we go. And then this bolt right here holds the bottom bracket. So it's tricky because you can't really see where the bottom will bolt into. So I just kind of try to feel around to where it starts threading in. There we go. This is the bottom bolt for the alternator, and then there's we'll put the top bolt in, and basically we'll put the belt back on. It's on there loose right now. We'll go ahead and put the top bolt back on. Right here. So here's the top bolt. Alright, this is a 12 millimeter. Let's go ahead and tighten the 14 millimeter. All right. That's on there good. Let's go ahead and get the belt back on. So put this on the tensioner bolt. It's on the tensioner bolt, our extension for leverage. All right. And then now you want to take the belt and pull it back over your alternator. All right. So it's on there. Belt's tensioned tight. Let's go ahead and put the reservoir, power steering reservoir back in. All right, belt's on. Let's plug in the harness, and then we'll test. So, plug in the bottom green connector first. Make sure it clicks in place. Put the harness back where it kind of slides in place, and this is the positive connector. So now we're putting in the top positive nut to hold the cable in place. This one was a 12 millimeter. Oops. I'm going to try to get a little more space, so we'll use the extension. Okay, so that connector's on. We'll go ahead and put the boot over it. All right, everything's plugged up. We have that bolt right there. It holds the wiring harness. That was a 10mm. All right, let's go ahead and plug the battery back in. We're going to test it, make sure it's charging correctly. So negative, that gone. Let's go ahead and start the car. We're gonna go ahead and test. We'll test the battery. Good, so now it's 14.4. So that means this should be testing correctly too. So this is the positive, goes directly to this fuse right here. So I'm touching this just in a negative anywhere. So I'll do negative on the engine and then place so you can see. There we go. So negative, just put it on the frame somewhere. Here, we'll do that, and then positive, negative. So now it's charging at 14.4. It wasn't charging anything earlier, so we're good to go. Put the engine covers back on. So we have this engine cover. This goes over the front of the car, and here's the underside. So you'll see it has these, which is the flathead, and then this is the rubber grommet I was telling you guys about earlier. So go ahead and pull this off. The rubber grommet, it goes in right here. This little spot right here. There, it slides in, it holds in that harness. So now this is ready to pop in to that little spot. There we go. And make sure these are vertical this way. So then now you just turn it horizontal by 90 degrees. Grab a flathead. turn 90 degrees. There, and it locks in place. Same with the other side, right here. There, locks. And engine cover. Because make sure there's 4 bolts still. These are all 10mm bolts, and I'm using a 3-inch short extension. So just making sure they're loose, I go crisscross. So let's go up here. And then the front. All right, all done. So let's go ahead. So battery's in, everything's good. Let's tighten down the battery cable. All right, we're good to go. So we went ahead and started up the car after we changed out the alternator. It still has a maintenance required light, but that's for probably oil change. But I got in the car, started it up, and now it's required. So radio code 45461. Oh. So then I put 45461. All right. Your radio code's probably different, but you can go up to your local Acura dealership and they'll be able to print out these codes for you according to your serial number, VIN number. All right, everyone, that's pretty much it for changing an alternator on a 2001 Acura MDX. This should be pretty similar for all 2001 to 2006 Acura MDXs, a couple of Honda Pilots as well, and Honda Odysseys. They're pretty similar. The ones that use this 3.5 liter VTEC motor. But all right, please hit the like and subscribe button if this information helped you at all. But thanks for watching. Take it easy.